What is going on, guys? This is Jordan of the Jordan Complex, and welcome back to Reality News, our place to talk about our favorite realities, virtual, augmented, and mixed reality. I know, guys, it has been a while. It has been so long since I've put out a video, but in the words of Logic,
okay, I was gone for a minute, but I'm back now.
Yes, I am back. Thank you so much for being patient, and I'm so sorry for being MIA, but we've got a bunch of important news to cover, so drop a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't, and let's get to these stories. For our first story, unless you're an Oculus Quest user, your VR experience is not only limited to how nice of a headset you have, but also how good your PC specs are. That's why most of us give a resounding cheer when the newest groundbreaking consumer hardware is revealed, and this time was no different. Yesterday, we finally got to see NVIDIA's highly anticipated live stream showing off their newest generation of RTX graphics cards. Starting with the one that'll be available soonest, we have the RTX 3080 Founders Edition coming out on September 17th for $699. The RTX 3080 is alleged to have about 2 times the performance of the RTX 2080 for the same price, and is even faster than the vastly more expensive RTX 2080 Ti. The presentation also gave us the first official look at the highly rumored RTX 3070 and the RTX 3090 graphics cards. The RTX 3070, available in October, is also faster than a RTX 2080 Ti, but we're talking about a card that is only $499. I'm not in the business of telling you what to buy because there are people way smarter than me who can do it much better, but it's really hard to argue against that kind of value. Lastly, the RTX 3090 is an absolute monstrosity, coming in at $1,400 and apparently is capable of 8K gaming. This card is scheduled to release September 24th, and I'm really excited to see what a beast of a card like this could do paired with an HMD like the upcoming Reverb G2 or the Valve Index. Will you guys be upgrading to one of the new 3000 series cards, or are you holding out to see what AMD has coming down the pipeline? Let me know in the comments. In our next story, last week we got a new trailer for the upcoming Medal of Honor Above and Beyond game, and I'm really glad to see AAA studios coming into the space and giving us not only a fleshed out story experience, but also a full multiplayer experience as well. That said, for whatever reason, I can't seem to drum up within myself a huge level of excitement for this game. I'm not sure if it's because I find most FPS games in VR kind of lacking and awkward, as holding most two-handed guns feels off without some kind of physical gun stock, or maybe something about this game in particular still feels off to me, but I'm just not as hyped for this game compared to something like Star Wars Squadrons. Regardless, I still plan on supporting the game as I want to incentivize more AAA studios to go out on a limb for VR, and I would love nothing more to be wrong and find myself enthralled in what could be a really cool World War II story. Next, we have a few stories from everyone's favorite billion-dollar company, Facebook. Some of these stories have been covered thoroughly, but I still wanted to weigh in. So first, let's start with Facebook requiring all new users to log into Facebook to use their Oculus headsets, and existing users will be forced to merge their Oculus and Facebook accounts starting in 2023. This is a highly controversial move, but not an altogether surprising one. I've seen many people quoting Palmer Luckey saying that Oculus would never require a Facebook login, but I think it's obvious that anyone who was able to be pushed out of a company the way Luckey was never in a position to make that kind of promise to begin with. And I want to emphasize though, that's not a shot at Palmer Luckey. He is probably my favorite uber-rich techie next to Elon Musk, but I'm just tired of people pointing to that as the damning proof that Facebook lied. I could also see this coming as I recently deleted my Facebook and made a new one in hope for a fresh start, and during the cooldown time until I could actually make the new one, I immediately saw a loss in access to many of my Oculus social features, like making a party. So here's how I feel about it. If you're someone who's morally opposed to Facebook for whatever reason, justified or not, Oculus was never an option anyway from the day that they were bought out. If you are someone who currently has an Oculus account but is somehow opposed to using a Facebook account, I think that's kind of silly. You're already giving Facebook your personal information with an Oculus account, now you're just consolidating that info with the exact same people but with a different account system. I could see it being a logistical hassle, but if you're opposed to it for, say, privacy reasons, I kind of feel like that ship has sailed. I know that there are a ton of other nuanced arguments against this, but I'm just addressing the most common things that I've heard. Now, I'm definitely personally skeptical of Facebook's business and privacy practices, but that's kind of how I feel about most of these tech companies, and it's hard for me to feel morally outraged about one company when this is a larger issue with the tech industry in general, especially when Facebook at the moment has the most compelling price to performance ratio for when it comes to entry-level virtual reality. Despite their baggage, I think it's hard to argue against the positive influences Facebook has had on the VR space and their influence on bringing it to a more mainstream audience. And I think it's clear from our next few stories that they're gearing up to go for an all-out push toward making VR mainstream. Last week, we received word that Oculus Connect is no more and has now been rebranded to Facebook Connect. This move is in lockstep with the broader rebranding of all their XR divisions into one single group known as Facebook Reality Labs. For the time being, the Rift and the Quest will still bear the Oculus moniker, but we're not really sure how long that will remain the same. Now, I personally dislike the new Facebook rebranding. Having the baggage of the Facebook name openly tied to my headset of choice definitely makes me cringe, but it's a fact that the name of the third largest website in the US and the sixth largest website in the world has far more recognizability than a relatively niche tech company like Oculus. My grandmother probably couldn't tell you who Oculus is or what they do, but you can bet your bottom dollar she knows what Facebook is, and that's the point. Facebook Connect will be held on September 16th, and despite the change in name, we are thankfully still going to get our yearly address from John Carmack. At this event, we're expecting two main things. One is the release of Facebook Horizons, which we recently got an updated trailer for, and second, we're expecting to see the newest HMD joining the Oculus family. As reported by the VR community's own Eric for President, a Walmart listing has appeared for an Oculus Point Reyes. These listings appear to line up with an Oculus VR headset leak from Target that shows a $299 and $399 price point for this new headset, which is most likely the headset we've been seeing leaked renders of over the past 2 months. So let's put all the pieces together. We have Facebook pushing to consolidate all of their accounts by requiring a Facebook login. Then they rebrand everything to their extremely recognizable Facebook name and launch a brand new headset that starts at an immensely compelling price of $300 and launches with their all-new, most likely free, VR social media platform, Facebook Horizons, which might even come pre-installed like some of their other proprietary software. I think it's clear to anyone with eyes that Facebook is trying to make that ultimate push for VR to be mainstream and making themselves the default choice in this new frontier, which is an absolute mixed bag. On one hand, I would definitely love to see VR finally cross that threshold. I mean, I have a VR channel, I have a direct incentive to want to see this succeed because the growth of VR means the growth of VR content creators, and it means more money improving the immersion and the comfort of our favorite tech. On the other hand, we have Facebook being the de facto leader of VR, which is less than desirable, and I would love to see any of these companies that only look to enterprise and high-end users give Facebook a run for their money in the low-end to entry-level space, because Valve or Microsoft, HTC, Varo, Pimax, and any of these others that have the high-end consumers, they're going to only focus on that while Facebook scoops up entry-level and low-end, and that type of market share is going to be really hard to compete against later on down the line. But with that said, how are you guys feeling about all of this Facebook news? Are you excited for the future of VR, or is it starting to sound kind of doom and gloom? I want to know what you guys think, and if you could, leave a like on this video to support the channel. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today, it means so much to me, and in some crazy personal news, I'm actually getting married this weekend, so I have a crazy week ahead of me with all the planning and everything that we have to knock out. But I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. God bless you, and God willing, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.